My name is Kati Grace, and this is my Shakespeare story. I have actually been coming to the Shakespeare Tavern since I was about 8 years old. I didn't grow up in Georgia, but we would come over from Montgomery, Alabama, where I grew up. Both of my parents were college English professors, and they loved the Shakespeare Tavern, so I got introduced to it at a really young age. And while before the age of about 15 or so, I don't really remember a lot of specifics except for the cream cheese brownies. I remember those. I do remember a time coming over when I was 15 or 16 and I got to see Macbeth, and I know that it was Macbeth, and I remember a lot about that night, but if I had forgotten, this is from the scrapbook that my dad made for me when I graduated high school, and this was one of the nights of high school that he captured for me. A friend of mine and I came, and that's us sitting in the balcony at the tavern, and I can tell because luckily he saved the playbill that, that was directed and choreographed by Drew Reeves, who I then worked under as an apprentice and as an actor many times over the few years. So when I was graduating college and trying to figure out where I was gonna relocate to start an acting career, because of this night and you obviously see, I got to interact with a witch, and that's not after the show in the little lineup out front. That was during intermission. He snuck up behind me and scared the bejeebus out of me. That was just such a memorable night, and so it caused me to look up on the internet, do they have an internship or an apprenticeship or anything like that? And they did, and I hadn't missed a deadline, and very fortunate that Laura and Drew offered me a spot in that 2007 apprentice company. And it's just wild for me to look at this playbill and know, okay, this was 2002. So less than 5 years later, not only would I, be working at the tavern as an apprentice, it was one of my apprentice shows to go on and understudy for one performance for Mary Russell, who was playing the first witch, and Lady Macbeth. So that's great, and I think that story, my story, is one that so many people have in different forms, where the tavern was such an important place to them in their childhood, and whatever reason, whether they were one of our superheroes or SIT students, or they came on a field trip with their school, or they had super nerdy parents like mine who just brought them. It's been such a joy to have that and carry it with me as I do my work in the education department, bringing a new generation of students into this magical place that Jeff has created. But also it's very motivating for me as a director now, as I create stories, to know that who knows who's gonna be in the audience and what they're gonna take away from that. I also just remember how cool it is that when you walked in through the front door on Peachtree Street, you had to walk downstairs. I don't know why that seemed so amazing to me as a kid, and I try to hold on to that every time I'm in the building and never get too used to it, because it's really a magical place. Obviously one that I'm missing a lot right now while we all work from home, but I look forward to getting back and being with our audiences again. And that's my story. I was a nerdy kid, now I'm a nerdy adult, and I work at the Shakespeare Tavern.